Though not organic, Cybertronians are in fact capable of love, and many bots search endlessly for their sparkmate, their conjuncts Endura. And in spite of their mechanical selves, many have gotten together with each other, or even with humans, throughout many different continuities of Transformers. Some have even had kids. Not sure how that works. So, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I thought we should count down the top 10 Transformers couples. Just a few rules before we begin. Both human and Cybertronian characters, as well as inanimate objects, are allowed on this list. Yeah, we're going there. Ships will not be allowed. They have to be official relationships, or at least heavily hinted at throughout the series. Though I totally ship the hell out of Bumblebee and Sari. And finally, of course, this list is based off my own personal opinion. With that, let's begin the list. We kick off this list with the undying love between Sideburn and red sports cars. A very one-sided love, I must add. Sideburn spends the majority of the series chasing after every red-coloured vehicle he lays his optics on, and proceeds to pursue them endlessly despite the fact that they don't respond to his pleas. Unfortunately for the comic relief character Kelly, she just so happens to drive a red vehicle. What this means is poor Kelly is constantly pursued by a talking blue sports car wherever she goes. Cyburn's complete obsession with the red colour of a car is a powerful force that overrides his thought process involving anything else, as he has been seen abandoning entire missions simply to pursue his love. Luckily, by the end of the series, Sideburn unlocks a super mode, which turns him into a red sports car. Let's not delve too much into what that could mean. The Generation 1 episode The Search for Alpha Trion saw the debut of the female Autobots, and with it love interest for some of their main characters. We'll get to a later one in a sec, but first there was Ironhide and Chromia. Apparently the two were a couple back on Cybertron, and the two of them were reunited in this episode. Though the most we get from them is an embrace and then that's kind of it, the reason I like the Chromia and Ironhide pairing so much is because the two are pretty much made for each other. Both are tough as nails, brave, strong and fearless. You can clearly see why the two like each other so much. The IDW continuity gives more substance to this couple, and though the two are yet to technically get together in the comics, the two obviously have some chemistry, and shared a lot of panel space and were almost never seen without each other during the Windblade and Tillola 1 lines. Until Chromia was arrested by Ironhide, that is. Ah well, love hurts. Though not personally a couple I'm too fond of, Optimus Prime and Elita 1's relationship is undoubtedly iconic. The episode of the Generation 1 cartoon War Dawn gave us a glimpse into Cybertron's past before the war, and showed us the cute couple of Ariel and Orion Pax, who seemed to be living peacefully. Until Megatron showed up, that is, and basically killed both of them. Luckily, Alpha Trion managed to get to the two in time and restore them as the characters we now know and love, though the pair were separated before Elita could wake up. The two were of course reunited in the aforementioned search for Alpha Trion, and the pair were happily reacquainted. Their relationship works because just like Ironhide and Chromia, Optimus and Elita are made for each other. Born leaders, wise, powerful, and strongly believe in the good of others. The only shortcomings in the two's relationship is the lack of any substance. The two just care about each other, and that's sort of all the show gives us to work with. Nevertheless, seeing Optimus with a love interest was inevitable, and it couldn't have been anyone other than Elita. RC was the very first fembot introduced into the Transformers series as a main character, though of course was subjected to a ton of over-sexualization throughout the series and of course was given multiple romantic partners. The long list includes Hot Rod, Springer and Chrome Dome for examples. However, out of RC's many different love interests, my favourite pairing would have to be between her and Bumblebee in Devil Jew's The Art of War G.I. Joe crossover, which saw the two as a couple and spending a lot of time in the series flirting with each other, which was actually kinda cute. The two made a surprisingly good couple. One cute moment was when RC rescued Bumblebee after he was injured. The two then had a race and RC promised to rotate his tyres if he won. I don't even want to know what that means. But overall, it was just kinda cute, and that was fine. And then Bumblebee was crushed to death by Serpenter. Yay! Though we've already covered some strong lovers in this list, none come even close to the intense love-fueling Hotshot's never-ending quest for Jam. What is Jam? I don't know. All I know is that Hotshot really likes Jam. It was worth the joke. The Beast era was home to many couples throughout its different interpretations, though the very first was Airazor and Tigatron, the inseparable Maximals who stayed together until the very end. Though Tigertron would have his first love in the form of another Snow Tiger within a few episodes of his debut, his true partner would eventually turn out to be Airazor, after the two bonded during some missions spent together. Just as they were getting close, however, they were abducted by the Vok. This was when the two had their sweetest moment. In the face of what looked like certain death, the two held hands, and they told each other that no matter what, their sparks would always find each other. It was a touching moment, one that resonated with the viewer even when the two had their absence throughout the rest of the show. Sadly, their character arc would come to an end when they returned as a fused spark and became Tigerhawk, which was kinda just weird for everyone. But it didn't matter anyway, because Tigerhawk died shortly after as well. It's a shame Airazor and Tigertron's relationship wasn't further looked into, considering the two were the sweetest and most heartwarming pairing in all of Beast Wars. Transformers has attempted many human Cybertronian relationships in the past, some of which have been adorable, and some that are just but perhaps my favourite out of all of them would have to be the relationship between Starscream and Alexis of the Armada cartoon. When Starscream joined the ranks of the Autobots, the only one who wasn't suspicious of him was Alexis, who instantly took a liking to him, and she seemed to care about him more so than the others. She, along with the other kids, managed to provide Starscream with a change of heart, momentarily at least, and Screamer even brought back a piece of rock from Mars for the kids. Alexis then turned it into a pendant that she wore. Unfortunately, Starscream's alliance with the Autobots would be terminated at a horribly inconvenient time. At the same time, the kids threw him a surprise party and made him a present, which he coldly discarded as he rejoined his former team. Out of anyone, Alexis was the one most hurt by this, and she still longed for Starscream's return as she watched him fight against the Autobots. The end of the show saw the most tragic moment of Armada, in which Starscream sacrifices himself, causing Alexis' pendant to crack and for her to become distraught. Though the two never had any romantic interactions, the moments between the two show a mutual fondness, which was absolutely adorable, and then later tragic considering the turn of events. Alexis clearly cared about Starscream, and yet the Decepticon did not return her kindness. The tale of the two is not a happy one, but it was certainly one of the most memorable moments in Armada. Just no one tell Alexis what happened in Energon. Of course, the classic romance between the deadly Black Arachnia and noble Silverbolt was one of the major subplots of Beast Wars, seeing Black Arachnia turning from the Predacons to the Maximals thanks to the heroics and persistence of the love-struck Silverbolt. Black Arachnia caused many to fall for her throughout the course of Beast Wars, but this love was only reciprocated with Silverbolt, who, after persistently informing her that she had some good left in her, managed to win her over. The interesting thing about the two is that they are polar opposites, and yet after much persistence from Silverbolt, the two became close. Their relationship also had a large impact on the plot of the show, and if not for Black Arachnia's conversion, the Maximals would most likely have had a hard time winning the Beast Wars. Their romance continued into Beast Machines, in which Black Arachnia dedicates the first half of the show to recovering who she thinks is Silverbolt within Thrust, and eventually the two reunite. Black Arachnia and Silverbolt's relationship was one of the most memorable moments in Beast Wars, and the two are most likely the most well-known Cybertronian couple, paving the way for many more to come. More Than Meets the Eye was the first Transformers series to really delve deep into Transformers relationships, introducing the concept of a conjunx endura and giving meaning as to why giant robots would want to date. All of the couples in More Than Meets the Eye were written brilliantly, such as Tailgate and Cyclonus' endlessly adorable relationship, which, while one of my favourites, was simply overshadowed by the pairing of perhaps my two favourite characters aboard the Lost Light, Nautica and Skids. While earlier stages of the two's development were very subtle and easy to miss, it was obvious that the two were getting quite close. By the end of More Than Meets the Eye, just before the finale, the two were always together, even dancing together. Though initially I was under the impression that Nautica and Brainstorm were going to hook up, it was obvious by the end that Skids was her preferred choice. And can you really blame her? I thought the two were adorable and were very much made for each other. But I should have known that this is More Than Meets the Eye, and happy things never last. In their final moments together, Nautica and Skids held one another, and Skids was part of Nautica's Amica Endura ritual that she performed with those she cared about. Skids' death had the biggest impact on Nautica, as she clung to his lifeless corpse. It was a tragic and heartbreaking scene, adding even more pain to the tragic death of Skids. Though short-lived, Nautica and Skids' relationship was one that I treasured, and thought was written absolutely fantastically. However, there was one more couple that I thought was even cuter than these two, and they happened to be on board the Lost Light as well. You know who I'm talking about. But before we get to number one, I think we should look at a few honourable mentions that just didn't make the list. Firstly, the episode The Girl Who Loved Powerglide saw Powerglide saving and falling for a human girl named Astoria, and though it was kinda weird, it was also kind of adorable. In the Windblade comic, Sparkstalker and Lightbright get married, and that is adorable. In Beast Machines, Botanica and Rattrap hook up at the end of the show, and it's really weird. The Kiss Players. Just kidding. Iguanus and his Pretender Shell are an inseparable couple. Kirby and Laurie are too cute not to mention. And though we talked about Bumblebee and RC, an honorable mention is Bumblebee and Scarlet in Dreamwave's G.I. Joe crossover that was fueled entirely by innuendos. Alright, with that out of the way, it's time for... And now for perhaps the greatest couple in not only Transformers, but in anything I've ever read, Rewind and Chrome Dome. If you've read more than meets the eye, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The concept of gay giant robots is certainly a strange one, and yet for a comic as strange as More Than Meets the Eye, their relationship fits right in. There is so much to these two's relationship that it is quite difficult to list it all here. If you get past how adorable it is, you'll see how much they need each other. Their relationship is a tragic one. Chrome Dome has had 4 previous conjunctors in the past, though each of them died. To get rid of the pain, he erased his memory of each so he wouldn't have to feel sad. He would soon meet Rewind at a relinquishment clinic, and from there became inseparable. Aboard the Lost Light, the two are never seen apart, and are part of the core cast. Many stories have been dedicated to the two, and all of them have been as heartbreaking as each other. The saddest of all came when Overlord was found aboard the ship and went on a rampage, but was only stopped when he was placed into an ejection pod, along with Rewind. The way the scene played out, and the pain shared between the two as you realise that this will be the last time they'd ever see each other, was so goddamn tragic. And even more so was Chrome Dome's response. When the pod was ejected, to avoid Overlord torturing his conjuncts, he destroyed the pod with a turret. What came next was something that could make anyone cry. The message Rewind left Chrome Dome telling him how much he loved him, in order to prevent Chrome Dome from injecting himself and erasing the memory. God damn it, why is this comic so sad? This sadness disappeared when the Lost Lighters came across an alternate Lost Light that had been eradicated by the DJD, all but for one crew member, and that was Rewind. Chrome Dome and the alternate Rewind got off to a rocky start, but eventually resumed their relationship as if nothing had ever happened. How can this be so cute? I don't understand. Yet another tragic moment came at the end of the comic when Chrome Dome and Rewind finally found Dominus Ambers, Rewind's previous conjuncts, who Rewind had been searching for the entire comic. The only way to save him was for Chrome Dome to risk death, though not wanting to lose his new partner, Rewind severed Chrome Dome's arm, allowing Dominus to die, in order to save his new lover. I could go on, but Rewind and Chrome Dome's relationship is beyond well done, beyond adorable, beyond tragic, and just overall one of the most well-written things I've ever seen. Number 1 couldn't be anything else but Rewind and Chrome Dome. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Do you guys agree with my list, or was there a couple I left out? Be sure to let me know down in the comments. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy Valentine's Day!